Hello everyone, my name is Tahir and I'm working with V3IT as Business Applications Executive. I'm glad to have Mr. Deepak Padgaonkar, who is the EVM, Executive Vice President for V3IT today, and I'll be asking a few questions on what actually happens behind the screen when I am taking care and when I am working on the applications, because now we talk about the Fury applications. I know how they work, what are the functionalities there, but I'm really wondering to know what actually happens behind the background for me, because all I see is the blue screen. The employees creating the leaves, somebody is receiving them, the managers are receiving them, and then the manager is responsible for approving those leaves. But really, how an employee applies for a leave and how that reaches the manager, and how once when the manager approves, then how that is being communicated, what exactly is happening behind the system, or maybe behind the screen. So I'm really wondering to know that.
Yeah, great questions there, and I'm so glad that you are actually doing the interaction with the students. I am actually supporting the back office functions. I know it is very hard to communicate with the end users and to make them understand is a mammoth task too. So we do appreciate what you do for us. So what happens is these days we have been doing a lot of platform migrations. So we've got mainframe systems going to mid-range systems, or going to what we term as an Intel-based platform. We've got in-memory solutions. So every time you ask me why is the system slow, I have to take something back to my back office functions, and I have to see what will make that transaction faster.
Exactly.
Okay, you're saying why does it take 20 minutes for me to get to a leave application to be getting approved? If I have the mobile phone, why doesn't it come instantaneously? And that's where I have to take ownership of that, and I actually provide you with a platform that helps you deploy it at a very fast basis. I know you want it now, you want it yesterday, all your project plans are significantly at a black cloud. So we are very heavily into platform migrations. So we have taken the yesteryear's platforms of mainframes, converted it into what we term as the mid-range, and today we are going into in-memory platforms. So platforms were earlier physical, today they are virtual. So there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. And when is this platform migration actually necessitated? One is you coming to me and saying that, hey, I need the system to operate at a faster speed. There are several other technical reasons also that happen. Hardwares also go obsolete. For example, processors go obsolete, operating systems go obsolete, databases go obsolete, compute, which is your CPU power, goes obsolete, your storage goes obsolete. I mean, earlier, if you remember, we had magnetic disks.
Yeah.
Then we have got what is known as solid state disks. Today we have got something like MB RAM or a RAM-based disk, which is the next generation of SSD 2.0, if I were to name it. So we have got those kind of disks, and then we have got the memory itself has come from several megahertz to gigahertz to literally the speed of light today. So that's what has made platform migrations very significant today. And there's several things. So hardware refreshes is one of the things. There's operating systems going into obsolescence, or database going into obsolescence, and there are new initiatives that happen in business. The customers that we support, they go through M&A, mergers and acquisitions, they go through divestitures, they go through splits, they go through carve-outs, and there are several things that are happening. Then secondly, now we know we have got so many browsers, right? Earlier we used to have only Netscape and Internet Explorer. Today we have got so many browsers, we have got so many devices. Everything has a new support. And when you talk about some specific applications that you talk about, you're talking about HTML5. Earlier it used to be service-oriented architecture. Now it is OData services. So for me to support that, I have to do these platform migrations beneath the scenes. So the platform migrations could be of different types. You know, when I'm transferring from the same database to the same newer generation of the same database, it's a homogeneous transfer. If I'm transferring from the same operating system to a new version of the operating system, it's again a homogeneous transfer. When I'm transferring from a mainframe to, let's say, a x86 system, from a mainframe based database to a in-memory database, it's a heterogeneous transformation. So whenever I change the operating system, database, or even the platform, it's a heterogeneous migration. So there are two types of migrations that happen. And nowadays, as I said, physical hardware is becoming more and more powerful. There is several powerful boards that are attached to it. You can run several systems in it. In fact, you can have a layer of abstraction wherein you can virtualize the systems. So that is another reason why people do hardware migrations. And of course, every generation has added significant speed leaps. So today, literally, when you order a thing within a 30-minute session, you can actually have the things show up at your doorstep. So that is the age and era that we live in. So again, there are different migrations considerations that we do. So behind the scenes, when you are actually helping the business users, we are actually planning the projects, we are planning the risks, so that you are not getting yelled at by the users. There's a lot of things that happen underneath. We actually talk to the different vendors that are supporting, whether it is a hardware vendor, whether it is the application vendor, whether it is the operating system vendor. We have to take care of all those support contracts. We have to make sure that we are in compliance with those contracts. We have to make sure we test it, we do proof of concepts, we actually take into consideration what is your bandwidth, because you might go through, for example, IFRS 15 project that you just went live with, right? So those are the things that we have to take into consideration. I want to make sure that Tahir and team is able to support, and not just Tahir and team is able to support, I'm also having the other teams that are able to support before and after the migration, and I want to make it as seamless as it is to you. So I don't want you to get a call on Monday morning, hey, systems are down, I cannot operate, and I know what your face is like. Your face shows it all. So basically that's not the situation I want to land you up into. So we have to take different measures to make sure we have the bandwidth, not only of the people, but also of the systems. We have the network bandwidth, everything, training, testing, documentation, everything has to be taken care, and that is when
so
it actually
when we talk about all these trainings, testing, the migrations, the hardware setup and all, so how would I, because as you said, I'm the one who is talking to the customer, I'm the one who is supposed to convince the customer, so how do I convince them, or how would you answer if I ask you what would be the time duration taken for migration, or maybe when we are migrating, during that course, what actually the business is happening in the system?
Very good question, Tahir, and to answer that, let me actually talk about some of the challenges that we have encountered in several of these deployments, and how do we actually go about overcoming some of those challenges. I mean, there is, we have to nail and detail every step of the project plan and the execution, not only the execution, but the governance of execution, conformance to all the legalities that are required. All of those things have to be taken into consideration. So we draw the project plan, that's when we have some mock sessions, and that's when we call you to kind of take a look, is this something that we think, is that something that you can comply with? Then we take into consideration if there are any language conversions. Today, everybody expects all global languages to be working in all the systems, right? So we have to make sure that that is taken into consideration. Then we talk about mitigating any risks that are there, or remedying any risk that could occur to the business. Those are things and exposures that are there. We have to talk about that. We have to talk about cost control. Every project, these things are, when we talk about speed, every time you think about speed, we talk about cost. So every hardware that we actually buy is quite expensive, and but over the years, in fact, if I see over the years, the hardware has become less and less expensive, and you get multiples of the power behind the hardware for the same hardware that you bought in yesteryears. So of course, the overall project cost is still justified, you have got a total cost of ownership that has gone low, you've got a return on investment, because as I said, 20 minutes have now become 20 seconds or 2 seconds. Okay, so that's where you get the cost benefit out of it.
So because again, when of course this would be a major question that I've been keep asking too, because now we are talking about the cost. So do we really have the specific kind of industry or the specific size of the industry, or how is that we are supposed
No,
to
actually it is whether or not it is a small industry or a medium-sized industry or a big industry. The approach is similar, the number of systems might be different, the parallelism may be different, the degree of parallelism may be different, or the way we kind of do the big bangs or rollouts might be different, but the methodology is the same. We actually always do a proof of concept first. So before we even come to you, we actually do a crash and burn proof of concept of a technology perspective. So that's what we do. Then we actually enter your area wherein we are doing your development or your test system. Then we do your production copy or your quality or test system. Make sure we are doing all the integration tests, all the user acceptance tests are doing there, and then only we embark on the production. But mind you that over the years that we have got so many technologies that help us make this a commodity approach. So this has really become a commodity approach. It has become a very seamless approach. So we basically prepare, we migrate, we do a post-migration support, and then we actually transform and have it run better, if you will. So that's the optimization process, and that's where you get start to getting the business benefit. And if you see the end-to-end, every year we run these projects nowadays, almost it seems like at least every 2 years we run it at some customers. But what happens is between the timelines, we are usually from the time your team gets involved to the fruition of the project, it's usually a 3-month project. So, and whether it is a small business or a medium-sized business or a larger business, number of people, degree of parallelism changes, but the timeline, the methodology is usually the same. So it's not like, of course, if you're buying less hardware, you spend lesser. So smaller businesses spend less, bigger businesses spend more. But that's the cost of doing
again,
business.
but when we talk about the line of the business, because I keep talking to multiple organizations who are into multiple businesses, be it the manufacturing industry or the IT industry or the utility or the educational industries. So when you also told something about the proof of concept. So should I consider that when we are working on this, we have predefined templates? Because what I am really wanting here to know is, when I am talking to a specific industry, let's pick an example of a manufacturing industry. They have a lot of customization. So how do we cope up with those customizations?
Absolutely, and that's where it is become, the approach has become commoditized. So what we do is, in the proof of concept that we do at a technical level, we assess all these technology ramifications, if you will. And that's where we kind of take a real productive system, a live system, and that's where we conduct the proof of concept. So basically any enhancements or customizations that you have done, we address it right up front. And today the tools, whether you are moving physical to virtual, virtual to physical, moving from on-premise to cloud, or cloud to on-premise, or wherever you're moving from a mainframe to an Intel-based platform, the methodology remains the same. Ability to address the customizing solution does vary from application to application. And in fact, when we are talking about application, we are also talking about interfaces and integrations. That also varies. So the nitty-gritties, the nuts and bolts do change. I will give you that point. But over the years, we have got templates for different applications, different interfaces, different integrations, different customizations, different enhancements. And we have actually a library, and that's where we provide an advantage as a company. You and I working together, you have explained me the problems, you have explained me the things. I have taken that benefit of all these applications behind the scenes. I have actually created utilities and small accelerators which accelerate the process of migration to the process. Today, it has become commoditized. So I can go to a customer and confidently say, no matter what your current platform is, no matter what your end goal is, 3 to 6 months I can achieve that goal
Yeah.
because of the help that you have given to me. Hope that helps answer your question.
Certainly, Deepak, that was night and knees explanation. So far, I was into just a little bit of confusion. What actually the magic is happening, but it's not actually the magic. Magic, it is behind it. It is just the brain that works behind all these things.
Yeah, it is not the brain; it is the team effort, and yeah, there is a lot of hard work. But we are here as a service industry. We are here to serve our customers. We want to make sure that they reap the benefits of our existence, and that's defining our existence. That's defining our monetary terms, and that's defining the way we work, what we like to do. So we put a lot of passion into it, and platform migration is literally commoditized today, and that's what we make a learning and a earning out of.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tahir.